I am super excited to announce I now have my own POW Weather App. It is live, folks. It can be downloaded on both the Apple Store and Google Play right now. So you can actually have literally POW in your pocket. So definitely go check it out. And I'll have the link in the description below so it's easily accessible. It's just one link. You can actually just click on it and download it for yourself. So let's take a look at the setup going forward, because we've got plenty of record heat over the next couple of days that will be entrenched a good part of the United States. And we also have major Hurricane Norma down there in the Eastern Pacific that is expected to lift northbound and going to be impacting the Cabo San Lucas area this weekend. And then heading in the next week, we've got massive changes with the coldest temperatures coming in from the northwest, and that will actually plunge all the way down into Mexico. So if you are new to the channel and like detailed weather breakdowns, hit the subscribe button and you're in. You get all my daily content on this channel, and I would love to reach 225,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and you can help me get there by subscribing to the channel and following all my daily content. You'll also, once you download the app, you'll actually get notified on every update that I upload on my YouTube channel. So let's take a look at Norma. So we've got definitely a formidable storm down there in the Eastern Pacific. That's 125 mile per hour hurricane now. Remember yesterday, it was just a tropical storm at 70 miles an hour. It rapidly exploded into the overnight hours, and all indications are this is going to continue northbound over the next several days. Luckily for Cabo San Lucas, it is expected to slowly weaken as it approaches that region, but definitely be on high alert going into that Sunday time frame into Monday within the Cabo San Lucas region with very heavy rainfall and higher winds. Let's take a look at the setup for the United States, because for today, we're tracking this storm system that's coming through the Great Lakes. We've got a little bit of a low pressure center. It's kind of a more of a nuisance than anything. This same region is still going to be getting rain for literally the six out of the 7 weekends in a row, folks. So we've got more showers and thunderstorms highlighted across portions of the Great Lakes, heading back into Pennsylvania, back into West Virginia region, into the DC, back into Pennsylvania. And then of course, there is Hurricane Norma down there into the Eastern Pacific, and where that ridge of high pressure is, all that brown, that is your sinking air, and that is where all the heat is going to be taking place. And little to no cloud cover and just abundance amount of sunshine underneath that atmosphere. And if you take a look at the big picture, you can see the setup by Saturday morning. This is actually Tammy out there into the Atlantic, and further inland we've got that system that's off the low pressure center off the northeast. That's going to be bringing some more heavier rains back into New Jersey, into the New York City region, into Massachusetts, back into Connecticut, and yes, more rain for New England, spreading into Maine. And then of course we'll be watching Norma every step of the way here. But let's talk about some of this heat, because we have plenty of it. So here's some of these record high temperatures potentially that could unfold later on this afternoon, where the ridge is the most dominant. That's where the most record high temperatures are going to be unfolding. We've got plenty of 90s showing up on the map in a good part of California, back into the desert Southwest. I think Phoenix is like 130 days so far this summer. They've seen over 100 degrees of temperature. So they even had 105 the other day. So that heat is just relentless for them. And even for the Pacific Northwest, this is still on the warmer side, if not almost hot for their standards. Up there in Idaho, we're talking upper 70s for late October, folks. That is not normal. And then of course plenty of 90s down here for the deep south, and those temperatures only kind of intensify as we go into tomorrow. Those records still unfold, even 37 record high temperatures potentially over the next, going into Friday time frame. All these areas encircled, that is your forecasted potential record highs that could unfold. The only cooler pocket in town is where that lower pressure is up here across the Great Lakes, because this is the area that's going to be experiencing kind of all the rain showers. But underneath that, where all the sun is going to bring all those southwest winds, and those temperatures going to be shooting up big time. And so we're going to be seeing some huge swings in temperatures from what we've seen this week, and especially heading in to next week. And those temperatures even on Saturday, so I think we've got 3 days. So over the next 3 days, we could have almost 100 record high temperatures unfold across the US, as those widespread 90s back into the Dallas-Fort Worth area, back into Austin, into San Antonio. You could literally be in the mid to upper 90s. That's crazy stuff down there in Texas. But yes, we're just waiting for some relief, and I think that's going to come big time as we head deeper into next week. So between now and then, we've got high and dry conditions out for much of the west and much of the central US, where that dominant ridge is. The only instability is where that low pressure is that's traversing across the Great Lakes. Then once it gets offshore, it's actually going to lift northbound. So that's going to add to some of that. It's going to add to some of that instability. So they are likely going to be getting some heavier rains that are going to extend in a kind of a 1, 2, possibly up to maybe 3 inches in some isolated pockets across this region into New England going into this weekend. And of course, this is where Norma will be by the time we head into Sunday. So going into next week, here's the overall setup. We've got this trough that's going to be moving off into New England, but we also have a western trough that's underneath that. That's got some instability, and that's going to be a major player coming across the central US, in combination of what might be left over from Norma. Then all that is going to be coming together and produce some much needed rain back into portions of the southern plains, into the central plains as well. So let's take a look at Tammy, because this is another formidable storm out there into the Atlantic. Right now, it's a 60-mile-per-hour tropical storm. Yet another storm. This is the 20th named storm. We literally only have 2 more storms to go through the entire alphabet, and then they just kind of start all over again. But luckily, we've only got about 5 weeks left of hurricane season, so hopefully we won't get there. But the good thing about Tammy is continue to remain on the tropical storm side, but it is going to be impacting the Leeward Islands, but I don't think it impacts Puerto Rico. But with this trough coming in from New England, it's going to be continue to move offshore. That is going to be able to pick up Tammy and lift it up and away. Even actually going to miss Bermuda, but it actually still could form into a hurricane, as it will be safely going out into the open waters of the Atlantic. But for closer to home on Tuesday, this is next week now, we're talking October 24. There is what's left over by then from the remnants of Norma will finally lift northbound enough past the Baja of California, and that remnants will be spreading into Mexico, will be spreading into New Mexico, West Texas region, and there is that western trough actually as well. That is going to provide the lift mechanism to produce much needed rains across this region for several days to come. And then all eyes come up here into the Pacific Northwest, where we're going to have the beginning stages of the coldest temperature so far this season. And this is going to bring some snow along with it as well. So here's the setup on the surface map going into Tuesday. There is the remnants of Norma here, and then we also have another area pocket of instability that trails behind this one, and going to be spreading into, crossing over the Central America, crossing going into the Gulf of Mexico, and this will be spreading, precipitation back into Mexico, back into portions of Arizona, as well as in New Mexico, mainly firmly West Texas, and will also spread into Colorado. But then there's the snow starting to fly with that colder intrusion of colder air coming in from the British Columbia region, and that will only deepen as we go into that Wednesday time frame. So we'll have a major player coming in from the south. We'll have this steady stream of moisture that's essentially a line from West Texas all the way to the Great Lakes, and then we'll have that heavier snow flying with that Arctic high pressure trailing on the backside, and out ahead of it we've got, you know, the coldest temperature so far this season. And then I think even to Thursday it's still going to be taking its sweet time, so this is going to be much needed rain. So if you live in the Oklahoma City region, if you live in the Dallas region, I think your heaviest rains are coming Wednesday night and the Thursday time frame, as we're waiting, you know, as we'll continue to produce those heavier rain showers, you know, for that region. But even into Friday, that cold front, again, it's going to take us a little sweet time because it's waiting on this system further south. So this area is kind of blocking this colder pocket of air to push any further south than what it is at that moment. But it's going to be producing some heavier snows, of course, along with it. And then, of course, you'll still be on definitely the warmer, if not hotter side, even into Friday standards, and even some heavier rain. So you've got, starting on Tuesday across that region, mainly into West Texas and New Mexico, and then that will continue to push off a little bit further off to the east. And then still, even into Friday, you have heavier rains that will extend into central and north Texas and Oklahoma, all the way up into Kansas City, going into Iowa here, while we're waiting for that colder air. But once the dam breaks, once that basically moves out, that will allow and open the door for that colder air to plunge all the way down into the deep south. This is your October 28 time frame. So I showed you some of the temperatures, you know, coming up on Saturday, right? And this is a drastic difference what's going to be taking place for next weekend. In some areas we're talking 30, 35 degrees difference in high temperatures, what you're going to see this Saturday versus what you're going to see next Saturday. So that's going to be a huge swing in temperatures, and definitely going to be feeling a lot more like fall, if not almost winter in some of these places. And it's going to be back in some winds too. This is going to have some higher wind gusts associated with it. So the initial blast, when you're not acclimated to the colder temperatures, you're going to feel it, folks. You're definitely going to feel it in a big way, as it will definitely be on the chilly side. It's going to be hard pressed for those temperatures to warm up even in the afternoon, as those highs could plunge as always all down to 60 degrees as far south as into central Texas. So that's going to be some chilly stuff. So guys, I appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video. Definitely watch my winter forecast after this update, and catch the next update. Wire protect you before and after the storm.